I hope the new week has begun well.
Yes.
Much better than the market. 3 days of gains lost on Friday. How do you think we're opening the new week?
I still believe there will be a lot of distribution pressure on the market, as we believe some of these counters have peaked at very high levels.
Right.
Like you mentioned, Equity Bank. If you look at KCB, it's peaked at 30.25, which is one of its high levels this year, and we believe that investors will start taking profit taking from now on to take advantage or exploit that advantage.
Because we're almost up to Christmas. People need money for Christmas.
Exactly. And looking at moving towards December, most of these the fund managers, institutional investors, they don't trade much. There's a very little activity in terms of participation in the market, because they are closing their books then. Even foreign investors are closing their books there. So we expect them to take advantage of the current situation right now and close the year on a high.
Read this for me. Is Housing Finance opening another branch in Mombasa? Is there that much of a potential in the property scene down at the coast?
Okay. Over the past few years, the real estate market has vastly grown, and we've seen a lot of investors making a lot of money investing in real estate. So probably HFCK had seen majority of these investors want a second home, and the coastal town of Mombasa proves to be.
Everybody wants a beach home. I want a home in Mombasa, but I probably can't afford it.
Yeah. I agree. The prices are ridiculous, and not a lot of Kenyans can afford it. So that's why I think they're targeting the high net worth clients and offering them that service to acquire homes in Mombasa.
CFC Stanbic new share started trading on Friday after the successful rights issue. What do you think of this stock?
The company has come up with a great strategy, fantastic management team. The stock is still a good stock. It's still, we still believe there's a upside potential, but now that it's issued more shares, it's started trading the new shares. We expect a slight decline in the share price.
And by slight, you mean, can you put a number onto it?
That would be difficult to quantify.
Okay, give it a percentage, 5, 10, 20%?
I'd give it a 10%.
A 10% decline?
Yeah.
But that is not too bad, that's respectable.
That's respectable considering the number of shares that are floating.
And at the same time, we're actually hitting a record high in the amount of cash that has been raised in rights issues in the country this year alone.
Yeah. If you look at the macroeconomic situation that we inherited from 2011, only made the banks, most of the rights issue are being contacted by the banks, and the listed companies only turned to rights issues as the most cost-effective way to raise money, because there's still a lot of opportunities in the region, and they want to use that money to expand in this region and actually gain a lot of advantage, considering there are rumors that international banks are looking at the East African market.
Yes.
Yeah, they want to get into the East African market. So what they're doing, they're just raising this money to gain a foothold of the region before these banks actually make a move.
But where is this money coming from? Is it from ordinary domestic investors? Do we have extra money that we can put into these banks, or is it largely institutional investors?
I'd say majority of it is from institutional investors, as well as retail investors also investing into. They also took part in these rights issues and gave them their money.
All right. Tell me about the dollar situation in South Sudan very briefly, because I want to lead this into our shilling. Okay. South Sudan is now becoming one of our biggest trading partners. Uganda is obviously the biggest, but because of the opportunity there, and it's a largely virgin market, a lot of Kenyans do business there. Jetlink, the airline, was forced to close down operations because they have $2 million stuck there. The South Sudanese do not have dollars because they're not exporting their oil, and this airline cannot operate. So this might affect a lot more people.
Yes, that's true. We need to remember that South Sudan is a new state.
Yes.
It just became a new state recently. And the South Sudanese pound was recently admitted by IMF just a few months ago. So now what needs to happen is just the CBK needs to sit down with its opposite number in South Sudan and come up with a way or an agreement where we can convert Kenya shillings to South Sudan and vice versa.
Right.
Because what happens right now is we'll have to take the South Sudanese pound, convert it to US dollars,
then back to
Kenya shillings. And the fact that there's a shortage for most of this year, there's been a shortage of dollars in South Sudan, has really affected Kenya businesses in that region, and that will have an impact on us.
But that it appears for me from a mathematical perspective it's possible. If we exchange the South Sudanese pounds to dollar for this much and then to the Kenya shilling, then we can do it directly. So this arrangement just needs to be worked out between the two central banks.
Yeah, definitely. It just needs to be, the two counterparties need to come down, to sit down, come up with an agreement on how they're going to conduct this, and this is the current situation. Yeah.